The story opens in autumn, when golden leaves swirl around a quiet train station in a small American town. Every Sunday, at exactly 5:15 p.m., an old man named Arthur Bennett sits on the same wooden bench, facing the arriving train from Chicago. He carries a single red rose and an old letter, worn from years of being folded and unfolded. The station master, a young man named Eli, greets him with gentle familiarity. "Still waiting for her, Mr. Bennett?" Arthur smiles faintly, eyes never leaving the tracks. "A promise is a promise, son. She said she'd be on the 5:15 train. Nobody ever comes." But Arthur keeps waiting. Rain or shine, summer or snow. To the locals, he's a legend. To Arthur, he's just keeping faith with love. The golden light of the afternoon spilled through the cracked windows of the small town diner, the kind where coffee costs a dime and every face knows your name. Arthur was 17 then, a quiet boy with a love for sketching, trains and dreams too big for the town of Hollow Creek. That's when he first saw her, Lillian Hayes. She was standing outside the diner window, hair tied back with a simple blue ribbon, eyes full of summer and mischief. Arthur would later say that moment was when the clock inside his heart began to tick differently. "You draw trains?" she asked, leaning closer to his sketchbook. "Yeah," he replied shyly. "They're going places. Places I'll go one day. Then maybe," she smiled, "you can take me with you." That one sentence changed everything. Summer of Love, 1956. Arthur and Lillian became inseparable. They met every Sunday by the same station, the same bench near track number 2. He'd bring his sketchbook. She'd bring her stories about city lights, dance halls, and how she wanted to see snow for the first time. One evening, as the sun dipped low and the whistle of a faraway train echoed, Lillian said softly, "Promise me, Arthur, no matter what happens, no matter how long it takes, wait for me here every Sunday at this bench." Arthur laughed then, thinking it was a game. He didn't know she was already carrying a secret, a truth heavy enough to steal her away before the next train came. Back to present 40 years later. Now, sitting on that same bench, Arthur holds her blue ribbon in his palm. The color faded, the fabric fragile. He whispers to himself, almost as if she could hear through time. "Still waiting, Lily, just like I promised." Eli, the station master, watches from a distance. He doesn't interrupt. He just adjusts his cap and looks down the empty tracks. The sound of wind replacing the train's whistle. Some promises never die. Some love stories never end. They just grow quiet and wait for the next arrival. Chapter 3. The Letter That Never Arrived. The autumn leaves painted Hollow Creek in shades of gold and sorrow. Arthur sat at the station every Sunday, sketching trains that came and went. But Lillian never returned. At first, everyone said she might have gone to the city for college. Then they whispered other things, that she'd run away, that her family moved, that maybe she'd fallen for someone else. But Arthur knew better. He could still feel her words echoing in his chest. "Wait for me here, no matter what happens." Weeks turned into months. Then one chilly November morning, Arthur's mother walked into his room holding a wrinkled envelope. "This came for you, dear. No return address." Arthur's hands trembled as he opened it. The paper smelled faintly of lavender and rain, Lillian's favorite scent. The handwriting was hers. "Arthur, I don't know if this will reach you. They're sending me away, I can't say where. Please don't come looking for me, but I'll find you again. I promise. Every Sunday, if you wait, I'll be there. Lillian." Arthur read that letter until the ink blurred with tears. He kept it inside his sketchbook, pressing it flat, hoping somehow his waiting could bridge the miles between them. Years passed like trains. Arthur grew older. He got a job repairing engines, the kind that roared across the country, but never brought him closer to her. Still, every Sunday, he came to the same station, his hair turning gray, his hands rough and stained with grease. People thought he was crazy. Some said he was lonely. But Arthur, he called it love. And somewhere in another city, in another life, Lillian stood by a window, holding her own copy of that letter, wondering why Arthur never came for her. Because the truth was cruel. Her letter never reached him. Present day, Eli, the old station master, finds Arthur staring at the horizon again. "Arthur," he says softly, You've been waiting 40 years. She said she'd come back, Arthur replies. And she will. Eli hesitates. There's something he's never told Arthur, something hidden in a dusty drawer of the post office since 1957. A letter that was never delivered. Chapter 4. The Forgotten Letter Found. The sound of rain on the station roof was the only thing breaking the silence that evening. Arthur sat beneath the old clock, as he did every Sunday, with his sketchbook resting on his knees. But this time, the station master, Eli, approached with something in his trembling hands, an envelope, yellowed with age, edges soft from time. Arthur, there's something you should see, Eli whispered. Arthur turned, confusion in his eyes. The moment he saw the handwriting delicate, slanted, his breath caught. Where did you find this? In the old post office box, Eli said softly. It was stuck behind a drawer. For 40 years. Arthur's heart pounded as he took the letter. His hands shook. He'd imagined this moment for decades, but reality still felt like a dream. He opened the seal. It broke with a fragile crack. Inside, on faded paper, was the truth he had waited his whole life for. The letter. Arthur, if you're reading this, I'm sorry. My parents sent me away when they found out about us. I tried to fight it. I tried to write every week, but they never let me send them. I'm being married to someone I don't love, but I'll never forget you. If there's a next life, I'll find you there. Lillian. Arthur's tears fell onto the paper, mixing with the ink that had already faded. His whole world, 40 years of patience, heartbreak, and unanswered prayers, was written in those trembling words. He clutched the letter to his chest, whispering into the rain, "You did right, Lily. You did." Eli watched silently. Eli couldn't speak. He'd never seen love last like this, a love untouched by time or absence. Arthur folded the letter gently, placing it inside his coat. "Thank you, Eli," he said quietly. "You gave me back my life tonight." Eli nodded, his eyes glassy. "Will you still come every Sunday?" Arthur smiled faintly. "Until she comes home." Later that night, Arthur returned to his small home by the hill. He lit a candle, placed the letter beside Lillian's photo, and sat by the window. The candlelight flickered, reflecting against the glass like soft fireflies. He closed his eyes, and for a moment, he could feel her beside him, her laughter, her perfume, her hand resting on his. The rain fell harder outside, and though the world believed she was gone, Arthur whispered, "You kept your promise, Lily. You came back." Chapter 5. The Sunday she returned. The next Sunday came with mist and silence. The air on the train station felt heavier than usual, like the world itself was holding its breath. Arthur arrived early. He wore the same gray coat he'd worn every week for the past 4 decades. And in his pocket, folded carefully, was Lillian's letter. The rain had stopped, but puddles shimmered like mirrors across the platform. He sat on his usual bench, seat number 7 facing the tracks. Eli waved from the ticket booth, but Arthur barely noticed. His eyes were fixed on the horizon where the trains always came, always went, but never brought her back. The train whistled. At exactly 4:45 p.m., the whistle blew. A silver train, older than most running today, rolled into the station, slow, creaking, breathing out puffs of white steam. Arthur frowned. He didn't recognize this train. It wasn't on the schedule. Its carriages looked vintage polished wood, brass handles, and lace curtains swaying with the breeze. The doors opened. No one stepped out. No conductor, no passengers. Just silence. The girl in the blue dress. Then through the mist, a figure appeared. A young woman stepped onto the platform. Her blue dress fluttered softly. She looked no older than 22. Her golden hair tied back. Her smile faint but familiar. Arthur froze. His breath caught in his throat. It couldn't be. But those eyes, he'd known them anywhere. "Lillian," he whispered. The girl looked at him and smiled gently. "You waited," she said. Her voice the same softness, the same melody he'd carried in memory for decades. Arthur's heart pounded painfully. He stood, trembling, tears filling his eyes. "I never stopped," he managed to say. She reached out, brushing his hand lightly, her touch cold, like mist. "You kept your promise," she whispered, and then she faded. Before he could say another word, the train's whistle blew again. The fog thickened, wrapping around her like silk. Arthur reached out. "Lily," Wait, but she was gone. The train vanished down the tracks, disappearing into the fog. All that remained was a faint scent of jasmine perfume, and the echo of her voice. Every Sunday until forever. Eli found him there. When Eli came running a few minutes later, Arthur was sitting on the same bench, silent, tears glistening on his cheeks, a peaceful smile on his face. In his hands was the letter, now damp with rain, and beside him, faint but visible, lay a blue ribbon, the same one Lillian used to wear in her hair. Final line of the chapter. She came back, he whispered, eyes closed, just like she promised. Chapter 6. The letter he never sent. The following morning, the train station was quieter than ever. Fog clung to the glass, and the clock on the wall ticked slower than usual, as if time itself knew someone was missing. Arthur didn't arrive that Sunday. For the first time in 40 years, seat number 7 was empty. Eli, the young station worker, who had grown old himself, felt a chill as he noticed the silence. He walked toward the bench and saw something there. A small brown envelope, sealed with a ribbon and written in neat, careful handwriting. It said, "Only for Lillian in case she ever comes back." Eli's hands trembled. He opened it slowly, unfolding a yellowed letter that had clearly been written decades ago. "My dearest Lily, if you're reading this, it means I kept waiting and maybe, just maybe, you came back. I never stopped loving you, not even when the years stole my strength, my hair, or my smile. I sat by the same bench every Sunday, because that's where you left a piece of my soul. If I could live again, I'd still choose the same mistake, loving you until my last breath. Always yours, Arthur." Eli's eyes burned as he read. The words carried a quiet pain, not just of loss, but of devotion so pure it had become eternal. He looked up and whispered softly, "She did come back, old man. You were right." The whisper in the wind. As Eli placed the letter back on the bench, a soft breeze passed through the station. The faint scent of jasmine perfume drifted in the air. That same scent Eli remembered from Arthur's story. And then he heard it, a woman's voice, tender and distant. "Thank you for keeping him company." Eli froze. The wind brushed past, carrying a feather that landed gently on the bench beside the envelope. He smiled sadly. "Rest easy, both of you." The town's secret. That evening, Eli placed the letter and ribbon inside a glass box and left it at the train station museum. Underneath it, a plaque read, "He waited here every Sunday for 40 years, for the love who never left his heart. Seat number 7, East Bridge Station." From that day on, travelers sometimes claimed they saw a woman in blue and an old man in gray, sitting together on the bench, holding hands as a silver train passed by. Some say it's just a story. Others say love never dies. It just finds another Sunday to return. Final line of the chapter. Love didn't end when they did. It just changed the way it arrived. Chapter 7, Every Sunday, Forever. The following year, the town renovated the old train station. New benches, fresh paint, digital clocks. Everything looked modern, efficient, soulless. Almost. But they never removed seat No. 7. By quiet agreement, no one sat there. Not because of superstition, but out of respect. The visitor in the blue scarf. On a foggy morning, long after Arthur and Lillian's story had faded from most memories, a woman in her late 20s stepped into the station. She wore a blue scarf and carried an old music box, a family heirloom. She sat on seat No. 7 and placed the music box beside her. When she turned the key, a soft melody began to play, the same tune that once played when Arthur met Lillian in 1957. A gentle smile formed on her lips. Her grandmother had told her the story every night before bed. Now, she wanted to see the place where that story never truly ended. The music box and the light. As the melody played, the sunlight filtered through the glass roof, casting patterns that shimmered like ghosts across the floor. For a moment, the young woman thought she saw two figures reflected there, an old man in a gray coat, and a woman in a flowing blue dress, smiling at her as if to say, "Thank you for remembering." Her eyes filled with tears. She whispered softly, "You don't need to wait anymore. You're together now." And with that, she placed the music box under the bench and stood up, leaving behind a single white rose. The last train. That evening, as the station emptied, a late-night train arrived. No passengers, no crew, no destination marked on the board. Eli, now old and frail, saw it from his post and smiled knowingly. The doors opened just once, enough for a faint glow to spill out. In that glow, two shadows stepped inside. Arthur and Lillian, hand in hand, their faces peaceful, their love finally complete. The train's whistle blew soft, gentle, like a sigh of farewell. Then it vanished into the mist beyond the tracks. Every Sunday, forever. No one saw them again. But every Sunday morning, the station clock flickers at exactly 10:07 a.m., the same time Arthur used to arrive, and the faint scent of jasmine fills the air. The legend says that as long as love exists in someone's heart, seat No. 7 will never be empty, because love, the real kind, never really leaves. It simply waits. Final lines. Some trains don't carry passengers. They carry promises, the kind that time can't erase. He waited every Sunday, and now they ride together forever.